Now I'm going to start my session, that is how to use the databases or database connectivity in PHP. As I feel that now you people are able to write a simple page in PHP. It may be now you are writing the code which will display only the static data. So here I will say, as all of us are using websites, website is nothing but a collection of your web pages, and in web page you are having the static data as well as the dynamic data. Static data means it will always come the same. If I write echo hello world, that means whenever I will execute this page, I will get the same text. But these days we require the dynamic pages because every user has different requirement. Now, when we require the dynamic pages, that means we have to use the databases. आपका database चाहे एक्सेस में हो या एक्सेल में हो या आपका Oracle में या MySQL server में, I want that from there I write a program, like from there I can access the data and display it on my web page. So in PHP you can do this type of things also. So PHP allows, as you know, that to create the dynamic pages also. So first is, here I have given that PHP has the ability to connect to and manipulate the databases. Now we all are familiar with databases, which is nothing but collection of data and which can be easily accessed and managed. Now database में क्या है आपका? You are having the data in the form of tables, which is not having rows and columns. Rows is your record and column is your fields, or you can say attributes of an entity. So PHP includes a functionality that allows to work with different type of databases without going to ODBC. As all of us know that ODBC के through भी you can connect to the database in other languages. PHP may, without using the ODBC also, you can connect to the database. It may be your Oracle, it may be your MySQL server or some other. PHP combined with MySQL are cross-platform. Cross-platform means the major advantage, I will say, if I am developing the application in Windows environment, but my whole website is on the Linux server. Now, do you think that I have to change the contents? No. As it is, I will load my program on the Linux server, and without doing any modification, it will execute and it will run perfectly. This is the major advantage of PHP. That means it is cross-platform. Windows में develop किया आपने and Linux environment में आपने उसको execute कर दिया. So question comes is database or your PHP execute करने के लिए what are the things you require? On the first day, Dr. Amit has told you about XAMPP. Do you know how to execute, start the service of the XAMPP? Hello?
Yes, madam.
Okay, that means you can start the service, and the XAMPP is, which is, I will say, consists of cross-platform, which is having Apache, MySQL, and PHP and Perl. It is among the simple, lightweight local server for website development. So, अब आपको सर्विस स्टार्ट करने के लिए, if the people are not knowing, then I will say, on your machine, you will have this type of icon, that is XAMPP control panel. You click on that and go to your Apache. Here you will have two buttons. One is a start and then admin, then config and logs, and other also. I want to run my website, so I require the Apache. So I will click start. This service will be started. And I require the MySQL also, because I require the databases facility also. If you think that your website is not having any database connectivity, then no need to start this. Directly आप Apache से भी काम कर सकते हैं. But today I require the database connectivity, so I will click this also. So both the things I have started. So Apache and MySQL services are on. On this screen also I have shown you that XAMPP control panel will be like this. And here you have to start and stop options are there. Once these are your toggle buttons. Once you have started, then next time it will come as stop, right? Now, come to your browser. I want to create a database. ठीक है? Now, database create करना है. You have to go to the local host, that is localhost /PHP MyAdmin. When you say this, this type of screen will come on your monitor. Now, on the left side, I have some databases which are displayed here, and some of the options are available in this toolbar. So first is I want to create a database. Okay, so click on new. Here it will ask you give the name. That is, I will say NITTTR CHD. Now collection, here I will say you should give, that is UTF-8 journal, because I used to give this. Sometimes I find कि कुछ characters available नहीं होते if we don't give this UTF-8 journal CI. So I always give UTF-8 journal CI and create. When I click on this create, you will find NITTTR CHD will come here. See, it has created the database. Now, here also you will find some menu में कुछ options आ रही हैं, that is a structure, SQL and all that. Now I want to access this database, double click on that, and in this what you require, that is table. Data is stored in the table. So first is I have to create a table. I say that is employee table. And number of columns it is telling you, that is 4 by default. If you say more, you can increase. If you want to reduce it, you can reduce it, and then say go. Now, here you will see name, type, length. So many options are coming. So you can give the name of the field, that is, I say employee ID. It is an integer type. You can check here if you want big integer, small, tiny, and all that you can do. I'll say it is an integer type. Auto increment I want, it is a primary field. Okay. Then next is I say name of the employee. It is, I say varchar and 250 characters length. And then I say department. That is also varchar and 100 characters. Then you can save it. Now see here, under NITTTR CHD, you are having the employee table. And here you will see, when I click on this browse, nothing is coming, only employee ID, name and department, no record it is displaying because it is not having any record. And if you want to see the structure, you can click on the structure. It will display you the structure of this table that you have selected. Now next is, if you want to give the some query language, that is SQL. SQL में you can have insert, you can have update, you can have select or delete. Whatever you want to give, you can give the SQL also from here. If I say I want to insert, see the query, insert into employee, that is the table name, and it is having the field names, values this. Now you can change this and it will add the things. I say 101 and then I say go. Now when I click on the browse, you will see the record which I have given Sangeeta and CSA and ID that has been entered into the table. On the left side of this, you will find three options, that is edit, copy and delete. If you will not create a primary key in a table, then you won't get these options. So I will say whenever you create a table, give one field as a primary key so that you will have this, so that you can easily do the manipulation from here. If you want to edit, you can edit it. If you want to delete, you can delete from here. Suppose I want to say edit, I click here. Another is, if you double click here, that also you can do. You can manipulate a single field there. Right, by clicking on delete, it will delete this row. Next is, if you want to select, suppose if your table is having more than 4 or 5, then we know that to select the number of records, you can use a select statement, that is select star from employee. I don't want to give the where condition. Simply, I say select star from employee. That means it will select all the records from the table and it will show you the result. Because my table is having only one row, so that's why it is having this, showing only one row. Another, if you want, select a star where employee ID. On some employee ID, I want to give some conditions, so I will say employee ID equal to 101. So it will display me that because it is satisfying this condition. So I feel if you have to do such type of things from the backend, you can do easily because it is through PHP MyAdmin, it is providing you the GUI and it is very easy to use. अगर आपको update करना है, then you can update also. If you have to delete from delete tab also, you can delete the things. Next is search. Employee ID, if I say greater than 102, no record it is displaying because my table is having only one record, that is 101, and 102 say greater, there no record is satisfying that condition. But if you say equal to 101, from here also you can get the result. So multiple conditions also you can give, name and department पर भी आप दे सकते हो. And another tab here is, that is insert. If you have to insert more records, you can do that also. And then click on the go. Two more records have been added to your table. Now, Here you will find export and import also. If the requirement comes where you have stored your data into the MySQL database in some table and you have to give the data to somebody, he wants in the form of Excel. He doesn't have MySQL or he doesn't have this PHP MyAdmin on their systems. So you can export it. You can click here, export. In the format, by default, it is giving you SQL. Click on this. You have CSV format, that is comma separated for MS Excel. PDF में आपको चाहिए, text में चाहिए, जिस format में you require, you can select from here. I say CSV for MS Excel and then click on the go. So it will create a employee.csv on your machine. And I open it. See, now here you can convert it into the columns because these are semicolon separated. It depends, these are semicolon because on my machine I have set to be separated by semicolon. But when you will do on your machines, by default the comma is there. Okay, so it will be separated by comma. So I say data and text to columns, delimited option you have to select. Delimiter is, in my case, it is semicolon. So you will find 3 columns will be there. Next and finish. Now see, आपका data Excel में आ गया. Now you can manipulate, you can save it and you can give it to the client. This is one way. अगर आपको, if you require to take the backup of the database, then you can do from here SQL. आप पूरा complete database का भी backup ले सकते हो. If you require a backup of your only table, then you can select that table and then say SQL. And on the other machine where you want to import this, then you are having the option import. Through that, you can import the table into the database, right? Next is import. Now, here you have to select the file. It is not like import SQL file. You can import a CSV file also. So here I will show you. Okay, I will create one CSV. I have created a Excel file and I say file, save as, browse. I'm giving the name as TT and it is saved in the download folders and commas delimited. Okay, I say save it. Yes. Now come to the import, browse. I want to import this file, TT, open, CSV, and then say here by default it is giving you the column separated with comma, and if you want to see, I will show you that on my machine this TT, okay, let us directly do it is semicolon and then say go. Invalid column count in CSV on line number 1. Okay, that means number of columns. Okay, let me change this structure rather than auto increment. Okay, it has imported successfully. So now see all the records which I have entered into the Excel file, save it as a CSV, they have come into your database. Right, like this way you can import and export your tables. Next is operations. That is very useful things. Now if I want this table should be copied its structure as well as data to some other database also, that you can do. Copy table to this. I say there are so many uh, database here. I say in employee documents I want to copy this structure and data. So I click on that, go. Now employee documents, see you will have this employee. So from one database you can copy that same table. If you want a structure also can be copied only. If you want the data also, then structure and data, both the things can be copied. So you can copy of data from one table to the other database also. That means from one database you can copy it to the other database. So this is through a GUI. So I feel maximum things which we require to handle a database through a backend that PHP MyAdmin provides you. Now we come back to our slide. So I feel you people will be able to create a database at the backend. You can create a structure of a table and one or two records you can enter into the table. Next is when we are talking about the websites, we have seen that when we have to create a user or when we have to log in on some machines, we have to fill the form. That generally asks name, department, designation, mobile number, email, and all those things. So when we develop the websites, we also require to create a forms. Now, I'm coming to that. All of us know to create a form, we have a form tag available in HTML. But generally, we used to give form, if you form and then the input fields which you require, like here I have given one, enter the name, input type text, value जो भी आप देना चाहते हो and that. So एक मैं आपको प्रोग्राम से भी दिखा देती हूँ. Now say this is my structure of a HTML file. In this file, I have used one form tag which is having some other attributes also. I'm going to discuss that later on. And in this form tag, within this form tag, I am having one enter your name. Then I have given the input tag. I have defined the other attribute, that is it will get the text type value. And I have given some name to this, and value is, rather than value, I will say you use the placeholder attribute. I feel you know the difference between the placeholder and the value. When I execute this file in my browser, see, localhost, that is this is polycule. Now see, it is displaying this as a simple static text, and in front of that it is having one text box which is allowing you to enter some data. When I click here, I have to delete because value is, I have not saved this file. So click here and save the file, refresh it. So now placeholder will be used. The moment I enter, that is, so in this text boxes, I am able to enter the data. These are your forms. So whenever you have to create a form, first is you have to use the form tag. Then whatever label you want, you can give that, and then you can give the input boxes. It may be your text box, it may be your text area, it may be radio buttons, checkbox, or the select. All these options are there in HTML. You can use those and then you can create a form. Now, after this, I have one input button, that is a button type, and it will be type of this will be a submit. Now here the value I have written is click here. So this is the submit button. When I click on this submit button, here you will find three things. One is method, other is action, and then the name of the form I have given. If you want to access this form in PHP, then you can use this form name. In the action, I have mentioned a1.php. This is the second file When the user will click on my submit button, this file will be processed. And here I have mentioned the method as post. So this will tell how your data will go from one file to the other. I'm first going to discuss about the method, then I will tell you about these actions. There are three methods options are available. One is post, other is get, and third is the required. All of them have some advantages and disadvantages. First is get. The data can be sent to the database data processing page by both get and post methods of a form. Get, all the form elements will be appended to the URL of the target page and are accessed using the get. That means जब आप एक फॉर्म बनाओगे at that time form will be created in one file and its data will be passed to the another file which will process this data. So we have to specify method is get, that is a by default, and advantage, this is a by default option. Performance wise this is faster, and get request is sent via URL string. I will show you. And on this you can make the caching or the bookmarking. But the disadvantages of get is that there is some restriction that maximum 250 characters you can have the URL. And it will be visible to the user also. Now see, here I will say get and file name is a1.php. I open this. Here I have to receive it in the get. Once I am sending it through get, I have to receive it through get. Now when I run this, please see the URL. Now you are having localhost /polyqip/test.php here. Now when I click on this button, see, I have passed the data which I have entered into the text boxes, that is Sangeeta and 45, and the URL has been changed, that is localhost/polyqip. This is the name of the file, a1.php, question mark, name equal to this and age equal to 45. So this will be visible to the user, which we have learned in this slide. That is exposed and can be easily traced by visiting history pages of the browser also. Another, if the user wants to make the caching or bookmarking, that also he can do on this page. जैसे ही आपका इस पेज पे जाता है control, then he can make a bookmark also on this. But advantage is that it is faster and you are sending the data in the string format. Next is post method. Post data will be put into the special server variable and is accessed using the $post. The things which I have to change, I will tell you. Advantages is it is more secure because data is not visible. And through post, you can send a larger amount of data to the other page. Disadvantages on this, you cannot make the caching or bookmarking. If your requirement is that if your client should be able to make a bookmark on that page, then don't use the post method, use the get method. Another is it is written that it is not incompatible with certain firewall setups, but I have not seen till now. We are also using firewalls, but it is working perfectly. So now when you are using the post, the changes you have to do is in a1.php. Here you have to receive it in post. And in the method of this form tag, here you have to specify the post, that you are sending the data through post. Now come to this, and here I say now you can see I'm entering the data in my test.php page, alloc and 55 in the text boxes, and here in the URL, it is not showing now the query string, which we used to say, which are appended by the name of the file. So these are the advantage of your post. When you are creating the form and the respective processing file, you know that you have mentioned the method as get and you have mentioned the method post, and in the receiving file you have to use the get or post. But if we are using the modular approach and we are not knowing that the other person how he has created a form, and we are not knowing how he has used a get or post, so the third option available is that is request. By only request, you can get the data in the receiving file also, right? So it is helpful when we don't know that which method is enabled at server end, or we want to get all variables which are passed through get and post. So in that situation, you can use the request. Now, besides this, I am going to tell you one thing. In this case, you will see that I have created two files. One is my test.php, in which that is a one HTML file, or I can say HTML file which is not having any PHP code. But I have given the extension .php. In this, I have just created a form and one button that is for the submit. And form tag may I have mentioned another file which is just receiving the data and displaying it. Now here one question is, in the input, I am using input tag. Input type is text type placeholder that I will show you. You know that what it is doing. Placeholder में जब आप फॉर्म एग्जीक्यूट करते हो तो यहाँ पे ये जो टेक्स्ट आ रहा है दैट इज ड्यू टू द प्लेस होल्डर. The moment you click here, it will be erased. So another attribute I am using here is the name. This name, you can give name or you can give any variable here. Any name here you can give, like N1, N2 or something else. But here I have to use the name attribute and some name of the through which this text box will be identified in PHP, not in JavaScript. But if you require that we want to do a validation on this, and that validation we want to do through JavaScript, then I will say here you say ID is name type, because in JavaScript we access the attribute, we access the object through the ID. But in PHP we access the object by the name. So that's why in A1 file I have used $post and this name. If I say here N1, then here also I have to change it to N1 type. And if I say here age, not age, that is A1, and then I have to mention it as A1. Save both the things and see, because some people may get confused that name is name, name is age, and there also I am using save, and A1 also save. Right? So we are familiar with this form. Now, in the form, we have seen that form method post, and till now we were using the a1.php here. In place of this thing in the action, I have mentioned a1.php. That is a1.php file it has to process when the user will click on the submit button. That means control has to go to that file. Some people feel that by doing this way, we are creating so many files, and they want that, can it be possible to write the same code in the same file? Yes, you can do that. But we have to use some other things also. Like here you will say action equal to PHP tag echo HTML special characters $server variable PHP self. This PHP self is a global variable that returns the file name of the currently executing script. If I am running the test.php and I use this, that means it will return the test.php. That means in that again, I have the same HTML code. I have to do some modification in that. So the $server PHP cell sends the submitted form data to the page itself instead of jumping to a different page. Right. Now, see, I show you the another file. Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now see, the same program, what I have done, first line, that is PHP, I have used some if statement. I'm going to explain that later on. And here you will see the same things. $n equal to $post name, $age, and echo this. If this is submit, then it has to do this, else part में it has to show this form. Now, आपका जो पहले फॉर्म क्रिएट किया था वही यहाँ पे मैंने यूज किया, बट द चेंजेस विच आई हैव डन इज this thing, that is echo dollar server PHP self. But here I will add this, that is HTML characters specials. That also I will explain. Just wait. And I save this. Let us execute this in here. That is line number 18. It is doing the same thing. It is not sending the contents to some other file. What it is doing is, when the control comes to this file, it checks whether this submit button, that is name of this submit is this. If it is clicked, if it is set, then it will do this. Otherwise, it will execute this part, that is it will display the form, and when the user enter the data into this and clicks on this submit button, it goes to this same file. All the data will go to the same file, and here again it will check, yeah, this is set. Now this submit is clicked, so it will assign name to this $n and age to this and display the thing on the new page. This it is doing. Now I think this is clear to you. Question is, what is this doing? HTML special characters. Come to this. HTML special character function converts special characters to HTML entities. It replaces HTML characters like less than, greater than into this form, that is ampersand LT and ampersand GT, and prevents attackers from exploiting the code by injecting HTML or JavaScript code. If somebody mentions, if I say, you have seen, अगर आप ये लिखेंगे simply, that is echo dollar server self PHP self, it is same like test underscore form या test2.php. But if your if you have not mentioned this HTML special characters, then anybody can modify it like this. If I say, if I do this here and run it in this, just a minute. right? I have removed the HTML special characters function from there, and I have entered some text with the file name. Now this is script I have written, and so this message is coming. The if the user see this type of things, he can do on your page. So by using, I will say, HTML special characters, you can remove the so this code, and when the page load, the JavaScript code will be executed. Alert box JavaScript का जो है. So by doing this, anybody can hack your page. So the HTML special character converts a special character to HTML entities. If the user tries to exploit this variable, it will result the following. वो आपको convert कर देगा. जैसे you have seen earlier, I have not removed that HTML special characters, but I was putting this script tag there. It was converting that. So whenever you have to use the PHP self page, then always try to use HTML special characters, and then PHP this. So it will remove your special characters into LT and those type of things, right? So next is so ये all of us know MySQL most popular. ये मैंने आपको पहले ही बता दिया, advantages हैं इसके, easy to use. But एक basic things I will say that MySQL database for small and large applications. Here I will say my personal, I have used it personally, and I find that maximum I have stored 1,20,000 records in one table. It is my personal experience, so there is no problem in using MySQL database in our institute types of applications. But when you are having very large, then we recommend that you should use Oracle or some other SQL Server type of databases. These people used to say that till 4 GB there is no problem, but beyond that there may some problem come. But I'm personally, I have used it personally, and in some real-time application, I find to store, I have used 1,20,000 records in one table. So I will say it is secure. ऐसा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है इसमें अभी फॉर आवर इंस्टीट्यूट टाइप ऑफ एप्लीकेशंस के लिए. तो now question is, we have learned PHP MyAdmin say how you can use MySQL, that is backend pay, how you can create the database, and you are able to develop a form, and one form say how to send the data to the other file, or for the processing, or in the same file you have to process it, that also you can do. Now I have a form, I want to save that data, or I want to display some data from MySQL database to my page. So you can use in PHP that MySQL also. So MySQL is an open source relational database which acts as a backend database server and helps in data storage and manipulation of data. Now here I will say, earlier we were having, earlier means earlier PHP 5 से पहले, we were having MySQL only. Now we are having three things. One is MySQL, two things I will say rather. MySQL extension, that is I stands for the improved version, and other is PDO, that is PHP data objects. ये आपको फैसिलिटीज दोनों मिली हैं PHP 5 and later version में. These days तो people are using PHP 7. And earlier version of PHP used MySQL only extension. Now we are having the MySQL. Now एडवांटेज मैं सिंपल से यहाँ पे आपको बता देती हूँ. यहाँ पे MySQL तो सिंपल जो PHP MyAdmin का डेटाबेस MySQL है वो ही यूज करेगा. PDO के थ्रू यू कैन connect with the other 12 different type of databases. It may be Oracle, it may be SQL Server or other. Now another advantage जो मैं आपको अभी इसी स्क्रीन पे बता देती हूँ, that is that if I have developed my project in MySQL and tomorrow the client says that we don't require the MySQL, we require Oracle. Then in that case, I have to change a lot in my project. Rather, I will say we have some applications which are using MySQL. But these days on some servers, we are having the latest version of XAMPP. So we are not able to upload that applications on our earlier server because that is having old XAMPP and old PHP because we don't want to change those things. So MySQL के साथ आपको ये क्लियर रखना है कि आपको MySQL ही यूज करना है. देन अगर इन फ्यूचर चेंजेस करने हैं देन इट विल बी टेक अ लॉट्स ऑफ पेन. PDO के केस में only little bit changes will be required. MySQL आपको two forms में मिलेगा, that is in one is procedural and other is an object oriented form. That's why I was telling you that it is in three forms. One is MySQL extension, object oriented MySQL extension, procedural API, and third is your PDO, which is a totally object oriented. So MySQL is released open source. SQL data, ये सब आपका जनरल सा है that I already here you will see. MySQL support large databases up to 50 million rows or more in a table. The default file size limit table is 4 GB, but you can increase this theoretically to 8 million terabytes. So you can assume how big your database it can handle. Now, question is whether I should use MySQL or PDO. It depends upon you, but PDO works with 12 different database systems, whereas MySQL will work only with MySQL database. So it's up to you which you have to use it. If you have to switch your project, जो मैंने आपको पहले बोला, if you have to switch to your project to another database, PDO makes the process easy. जबकि MySQL के केस में it takes a lot of pain to change the code. MySQL comes in both, that is object oriented and procedural API form में. So 12 different databases. These are your MySQL, PostgreSQLite, ODBC, DBT. These are PDO के different drivers are available. Okay, next is we want to make a connection to the database. How we make a connection to a database? To establish a connection to MySQL database, first is you require a server name. It may be a server name, it may be your IP address. Next is username and the password. These three things main are required. So here you will see $server name localhost. If I'm using localhost, then you can mention here localhost or 127.0.0.1. If you are having some other server, then here you can mention the IP of that server or the name of the server. Username, the name which your administrator provides. Suppose If you are the admin and you want to use a root, then here you can say the root. Password, जो password आपने set किया होगा, that password you have to mention here. Then we have to make a connection. So $com equal to MySQL underscore connect. This is a function which will allow to connect the PHP to your database. This is a PHP function. And in this we are giving the three parameters. One is server name, username and the password which we have set here. And this will return an object. If it is successful, then it will return a object of the connection type. And if it is fail, then it will return the false. So if connection, once the connection is made, we have to check it whether connection is made or not. If not, $connection, die connection failed, and then MySQL connect error. So it will display the error. This is the function in my PHP which will tell you कौन सी आपकी error हुई है. And if this is false, that means connection has been made, then connected successfully. Now I will show you in the program also. See, I have mentioned server name localhost, username is root. I have not set the password to my database and I am using this. Now, see, when I run it, connected successfully. That means I am able to access my database. MySQL के साथ आपका connection बन गया. Once the connection is made, and here one thing more, I will say it is not like you can make a connection only one. You can make any number of connections, any different data. हो सकता है आपका सेम सर्वर पे 10 डेटाबेसेस के साथ आपको कनेक्शन बनाने पड़े. हो सकता है आपका डिफरेंट सर्वर्स डिफरेंट मशीन्स पे डेटाबेसेस पड़े हैं, उनसे आपको कनेक्शन एप्लीकेशन में बनाना है. दैट आल्सो. सो यहाँ पे आप जैसे ही एक कनेक्शन में बना रहे हो, आप 10 कनेक्शंस बनाने हैं तो 10 कनेक्शंस बना लीजिए. इट इज अप टू योर एप्लीकेशन. क्या बनाना है आपको, दैट यू कैन डू. नेक्स्ट इज ये पीडीओ का है. पीडीओ की फॉर्म में अगर आप जाते हैं तो पीडीओ के में भी यही है, वो ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड है. ट्राई एंड देन कनेक्शन न्यू पीडीओ, MySQL हो, सर्वर नेम, डेटाबेस नेम, यूजर नेम एंड पासवर्ड. उसके एट्रीब्यूट्स दिए हैं. कनेक्टेड सक्सेसफुली. अगर एरर आती है तो एरर मैसेज. दिस इज द वे टू कनेक्ट टू अ डेटाबेस. जो भी आपका डेटाबेस है दैट यू हैव टू मेंशन. And through PDO also you can do the things. Now, if I'm having only one connection in my database, in my application, when my script closes, connection will automatically close. But suppose forcefully you want to close a connection. The PHP allows this function, that is MySQL underscore close and the connection name. जो भी आपका connection name है that you have to specify here, it will close the connection. If you are having con1, con2, con3 like this, you can MySQL underscore close $con1, MySQL underscore close con2. Like this way you can do in MySQL PHP में procedural way में. If you are using MySQL object oriented, then this is the syntax, that is $con hyphen greater than close. And in PDO you have say $con equal to null. So these are the three different forms depending which way you are using. If you are using MySQL, then these are the two. If you are using the PDO, then this is the way of closing the connection. So we have learned how to make a connection, how to close a connection. Now next is select the database. Abhi to we have made a connection. Now in MySQL, I am having the 10 databases. Now which database I have to connect? That one option is when I am giving this MySQL underscore connect. In the previous slide, I have mentioned only the server name, username, and the password. You can specify the database name also. So this is the procedural way MySQL connect server name, username, and password, and the database I have made like NITTTR. So I will say NITTTR here. In variable में store कर लीजिए या within single quotes you can specify. Object oriented है the same thing, but here you have to use the object oriented approach. If you don't want to give the database name here, then you can use this also, MySQL select DB. Take another function that is MySQL underscore select DB and the table name. Not table name, that is the database name. So you can say like this way also you can select the database. But generally we used to give this type of statement. Now with the database, now we have connected with the database. We require the queries. I say insert is a query, select is a query, update is a query, delete is a query. So there are two types ways of querying a database. Define the command as a variable and enter the command in PHP. If I simply say execute query, that is insert into this table, some table name, some values, I say every time when I execute that, it will do the same thing again and again. Or I will say, rather than creating a database or creating a table at the back end, can I create a database or a table through my PHP? Yes, that also you can do through PHP. That means you have to enter the command in PHP. And when I say you create a form, get the data through a form and insert that data into the database, that is define the command as a variable. So these are the two things. So here, till now I feel everything will be clear to you. I have made this server name, username, password, and I have made a connection. Now I want to create a database. I have stored a string that is create database, some database name. And then this is an object oriented form में चल रहा है. You can see here. Rather than this, next I will show you here. That is procedural way. I will show you. This is create database MyDB, and if MySQL underscore query, that means this function will execute the query, which is that is string में आपने जो ये $SQL string बनाया है, and किस connection के साथ, that is $con. This always require MySQL underscore query always require the two parameters. One is connection and the query string. So it will, when it will be executed, it will make a connection. It will, sorry, not make a connection. It will execute this query, that is create database in this connection. अगर कनेक्शन बन database create हो जाएगा, then it will say that it is successfully created. Otherwise, it will give the error message. Now, I will show you. And here I will show you one PHP MyAdmin sang. Yeah, this is the database. Now I remove this, drop this database, go to the operations and drop the database. Okay. Now you see it is not here. Now I have this program, that is test4.php. It is making the connection, then creating a database and displaying the message. So this is test.4. Here I write connected successfully message and database created successfully. Let us see whether in the PHP MyAdmin it has created the Sang database. Yes, it has created the Sang database. So through your PHP, you can create a database. Directly from here also you can create, and through PHP also you can create. You have seen this. Next is create table. We know the SQL command, that is create table, table name, जो भी आपको fields चाहिए, that you can specify. And same thing, I have written MySQL underscore query connection and the string. So now this will create the my guest table in Sang table. Okay. Now let us see. I will have this program, that is, this is test 4, test 5. Let me close. So this is the program. Create table my guest and this string proof complete string I have written and then executed, and now run this in test4.php. I will say test5.php. Table created successfully. Now go to your PHP MyAdmin and go to your Sang database. Now see, my guest has come in this. It is not having any records. It is empty, but ID, first name, last name, email, and registration date I have created in this. And this is because of statement, that is ID. I have created first name, last name, and registered date. So through the program also you can create a table. Next is I want to select the data from the table and display it on my screen, on my page. So this, I know the query will be select star from table name, and this will, when it will be executed, it will return some record sets. So the command can be repeated over and again. Okay, let us say. Now here I will say I will insert some record in this. Insert ठीक है. Now I want to display, just a minute please. Yeah, first we will see. This will make a connection, then I have given echo break, then I have given that select star from my guess, and this is a simple query. It will select, sorry, all the records from this table. Then I will execute the query and it will return the record sets from this connection, and I want to execute this query, that is $str, which is having this query, and I have stored it into this $fet variable that is having the record set, and this record set is nothing but a set of array. Now using while loop, I am saying $result equal to MySQL fetch array. This is a function that will fetch a complete one record one by one from this record set. एक एक array पूरा निकाल के record का that we will assign to this. And then question comes is how to access the fields. Now your array is stored in this variable $result $res. So I am saying echo $res within square brackets the field name which you have specified in your database table. I will say that is ID, first name, last name, email, registered date. One option is this. Other is you can give the number also. Now first I am displaying $result within square brackets, within single quotes, the field name is ID. Then concatenate के लिए we are using the dot operator. Then I am showing within double quotes comma. Then concatenate. Then again $result and the. Now I am giving you the number. I am not saying first name. So my aim was that either you can mention the field name or you can mention the number. Both the things you can use it. And see, the program name is, this is create, select, this is test 5, test 6. Yeah, this test 6. Now run it in here and 6 test 6.php 1 and return. अगर आप देखेंगे तो यहाँ पे ID is 1 and first name is Ritu. Rest of the things if you want you can show it if you want to display further. Like this way, अगर आपके पास 2 or 3 more records हैं, using this while loop you can use. I show you here. Okay, then एक और record डाल देते हैं. इसी प्रोग्राम को you run it 2 times. 1 Ritu, 2 Seema. ठीक है? Like this way you can get the data and display it on your web page. Next is, if you want to display a particular record, that means I'm getting a ID of a employee from the form and search it into the table and display it. So you can mention the query like this, select a star from that table where ID is equal to $I. But you have to receive it, that ID first. ठीक है ना, ये आपको पहले रिसीव करनी पड़ेगी आईडी, तभी आप इसमें इसको यूज कर पाएंगे। ओके, ये मैं आपको एक प्रोग्राम दिखा देती हूँ, और टेस्ट 6 टेस्ट 7। Now what it is doing, I have created a form which is getting the ID only, and when the user click on the submit, it is receiving the ID, and then from the ID where it matches, it is displaying the result. This is my program, and this is test 7, and I will show you test 7 how it is doing. Now I say ID is 2. Click here. ठीक है, 2 comma Sima. Connected successfully message is given. If you don't want to give, that also you can skip depending upon your requirement. And then the value which you got from the form, you have searched that into the table and displaying corresponding values. So this is the program. For this I have created in 2 slides. You can see submit, ID receive किया, then connection बनाया है, and then उसके बाद query I have written, then execute the query, then fetch the record अगर successful होता है. Here also you can use if statement, if this is null or number of rows are 0, that means no records is there. So no need to this, you can display the corresponding error message. And then in the next page, if form is not submitted, then it will display the form. This is in 2 slides. Okay, ये एक और प्रोग्राम है, सेम ही प्रोग्राम है, but in this case it is basically every time when I will run this, it will insert John Doe and exile email. This is the static values I am giving into my table. Like this way also you can do, but my purpose was that to show you that fixed values भी अगर आपको दिखानी है, then you can do it. ये insert, now say my SQL statement is insert into table name. These are the 3 field name values. John, that is a string type, is first name is a string type, that is John, DOE, and John @ example as email. Execute किया, न्यू रिकॉर्ड आपका सक्सेसफुल हो गया. जितनी बार भी आप you will execute this, every time it will insert John and Doe and John @ example. But if you want, ये तो सेम ही चीज है, post and display हुआ, no problem. If you want to get the data from the table form, that is name and age, and insert into your table, that is insert into test table, the field name is name and age, values. Now I will explain this. That is name. Name is of string type. See the string double quote से start किया. ये आपका string होगा $name. So इससे पहले whenever you will require to give a character in insert, then we used to give the single quote. So this single quote and then this double quote is to close the things. Then $, that is the PHP variable name जो आपने receive किया name, वो that is in a $name. Dot concatenate किया. Then again single quote, double quote start किया. Single quote to close this string, then comma for this, then double quote close करके age will be numeric type, then $age, then concatenate double quotes and this bracket for this. So this complete query will be built by using this single quote and double quote. So you can make it. Once the query is made, then you can execute, because it is an insert query. We don't require to receive the record set. If you want to display whether insert has been done or not, then you can receive it, because this function will return something. So you can receive some data in some variable, but I have given MySQL underscore query dollar connection and query record has been added and then message. So like this way, from the form data, you can insert into your table. Okay, this is a program where I am mentioning the ID and first name and last name from my table and displaying it into the proper format. I feel now this you can do. Next is if you have to delete something, delete a record, that means you are having delete command, get ID from the form and delete that record whose ID is 3. So you can mention the query like delete from table name where ID is 3, run the query and it will delete if the record which is having ID as 3. So select this is same. This is I have mentioned in the PDF format कैसे आपको का execute करना है fetch करके एक just format slide मैंने just PDF के how to use it fetch association and function in PDF. That the purpose of this slide was that. Okay, now this is the assignment. What are the things you have to do? That is write a program to create a database through a program which we have done. Write a program to create a table having following fields like ID, name, department and designation through a program. And then third program is to create to get employee name, department name, designation from a form and save it into the table which you have created in the second example. Fourth exercise is program to store 10 employees information in the same table using the form you have created here. Fifth is get the ID of the employee and search it into the table if found and display all its details as display the error message. And the last exercise is write a program to display all employee data stored in the above table into proper format on the web page. These are the assignments related to your MySQL and database connectivity in PHP.